special guest, Nick Ronald. Welcome to our motivational speaker show. So we're gonna have this show interviewing several motivational speakers, how they started from the beginning, from that fear of public speaking to be speaking on a stage in different events. So today I have the pleasure to have with me the author of the book Secret Influence, How to Communicate and Persuade with Power, Nick Ronald. And Nick, do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, great to be here, Harry. And yes, I'm excited to be having this chat on your channel. So yeah, fantastic.
Exactly. And how today we're gonna be talking also how to motivate and influence people, basically, right? Which is the main topic of our interview today. So the first question that I would really want to ask Nick is, were you always a powerful speaker, or have you ever experienced in your life a stage fright? If you can please share your story with us, it would be great.
Great question. Yes, Harry. So I used to be a real introvert. Used to be really shy as a young child growing up. And so when I was working, I was very quiet with my sort of 20s and 30s. And my background is as a professional copywriter. So that was, and it started when I was young. I used to love writing. I was very quiet when I was growing up as a kid, but I loved writing stories. And I took that into my career in marketing, and I wrote. Writing was a big part of all my jobs, writing copy. But when I was made redundant about 7 years ago, I realised that copywriting is a fantastic, obviously, skill, and is what I was passionate about and what I was good at. But to be able to, have a successful business and to market your business and to influence others, you need to be able to be good at speaking as well. You need to be able to influence people not just through writing but through speaking. And it was that sort of flash light bulb moment where I realised that if you can't influence people in life will influence you. And for me to be able to influence others, which I wanted to do, it was part of my new direction. To start my business and helping people influence with copywriting. I had to conquer my fear of public speaking. I had to get out of this introvert shell I had and learn how to speak on stage. And that was a light bulb moment for me. Well, that moment, that was when it had to change.
So then, Nick, in your journey, how to motivate and influence people, right? Well, we have Lily saying that we both look awesome and we look spectacular. So thank you, Lily, for joining us, and thank you for your comments. If you are at home now and you have a question for Nick, for Harry about how to overcome your fear of public speaking and what is the journey that you want to go to from fear of public speaking to become a motivational speaker, please feel free to ask our questions. We're gonna be here with the pleasure with the author of Secret Influence. What's upside down? It's like that. Secret Influence, How to Communicate and Persuade with Power by Nick Ronald. You can get his book in Amazon, right? Now, I would like to know, Nick, when you decided, okay, I need to overcome the fear of public speaking and stage fright. I have to do something. I need to get my message out there. So I know that you joined an organization. The name was Toastmaster, right?
That's
and
right.
So what happened when you arrived there and you saw the crowd? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, Harry, I joined Toastmasters. I was introduced by a friend who was a friend who was a president of the club, and they said, come along to my Toastmasters.
But then, Nick, why? Because you spoke with your friend, you told him, look, I really... So what do you talk to your friend that he tell you, I'm going to take you to Toastmasters?
Well, they knew I was quite a quiet person, and they talked all the time about, they raved about Toastmasters. I think when you do something you're passionate about in life, you can't help but talk to people about it and be excited, and that shows. And she was one of these people. She loved it, and she's passionate about it, and she's always talking about it. And so I was telling her, well, it's something I struggle with, speaking to people, speaking on stage. She'll say, well, come to my club. You've got to come to my club. So I went along, and I remember sitting there, and it was a big room with a small stage and sort of 40, 50 people.
Was even a stage there?
There was a little stage.
Wow.
And I thought, this is great. I can see the benefits, but I was terrified, and literally, so I went regularly for meetings, but I sat at the back of the room, and I must tell you this story where in Toastmasters they have half the meeting is prepared speeches, and the other half is where they have impromptu. So they'll invite someone from the audience to speak for 2 minutes and answer a question with no preparation. And literally, I went to these meetings, I think probably for about almost a year. And I would look down and I would say, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me. I was terrified, but they would pick me to go on stage for just 2 minutes and answer a question. And, it was obviously completely ridiculous because, there's no point in going or participating. But, I was literally terrified. I was sweating, and I was, my tongue was in knots, and I was like, and obviously there came a point where I eventually got picked. I couldn't avoid it. They saw me sitting there and they picked me, and I went on the stage, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. It never is. And and yes, from that point on, I slowly overcame my fear. It slowly got better. And I think when you start doing something, it very rarely is as bad as you think. It may be hard, it may still make you nervous, but and so after that point, I started saying, yeah, pick me. And instead it was like this, I was like, yeah, pick me. So if from don't pick me, pick me. And that was it.
So Nick, which advice can you give it to our audience? Like it was almost a year that still that fear was there, and you start to warm up, like you went to the club of Toastmaster. It's a great way to improve your public speaking. I recommend to everyone. I'm being a Toastmaster member myself as well, and it's a great organization. They also do competition. I had the pleasure to win 2 competitions there, and on the first place. But Nick, this process, like when you write the first time that you want to really work in your public speaking, you want to work in your, that you have a message, yes? But then there is this stage fright, this fear that, by the way, everybody have it, yeah? It's the biggest fear in the world, right? But also one of the most common. And so what happened in this transition in this year that you came from don't pick me to pick me. So what happened? The people that were speaking, they inspire you. You start to warm up and say, I can really do that. Or you start to make friends, and then maybe you say, well, you know what? They're not so strangers that much to me, and that will help you to give the first step. Because I know that once you do this first step and you really do it, that's it. It disappears because it's all in your head. So what was this process, Nick? And what advice do you have to the people looking at the interview? That they have this process from pick me, from don't pick me to pick me. How you recommended that they can overcome this faster, this stage fright, the fear of public speaking faster, and rather than take them 1 year to go from don't pick me to pick me, maybe can take them a month or 2 weeks. Any advice that you can give to our audience?
Yes, of course. I mean, I would say that, yes, you said, public speaking is man's greatest fear, I think, or women's greatest fear. I think it's that vulnerability of exposing ourselves in that sense of being on stage and everyone looking at us, focused on us. And I think what I would say is that by speaking on stage through Toastmasters and for speaking clubs, speakers, leaders, that has led to so many fantastic opportunities to speak at events and on my own events, and they wouldn't have happened if I hadn't got on that stage and spoke for those 2 minutes right at the beginning. And basically, if I had spoken on stage at the beginning rather than waiting a year, those opportunities would have come quicker. So it's a lot of I wasted a year in a sense, by not speaking on stage earlier. I mean, my tips would be really that, it's partly just you have to face your fear. There's no, sometimes, there's no easy way to overcome a challenge or something that, that scares you, whether it's public speaking or something else. But I think to an extent, you just got to, face your fear and do it. Also do it in, small steps, in a sport environment. And, then you can build your confidence up, so if you speak on the stage, if you speak with friends in a small room, then you can build up to a bigger room with strangers. And that's, so those are the two tips. I think you just have to sometimes.
Excellent, Nick. Thank you so much. And we have joining us Kadu Kadir. And he's telling us, thank you, welcome for joining us. And he's telling us, raise your hand if you fear something. And thank you so much for that comment from Facebook, actually. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, I agree 100% with your comment that the first step when we have fear of public speaking and stage fright is to acknowledge that the fear is something, the fear of public speaking, the fear of the stage fright is something that every single human has. But what I'm very happy with Nick is that he acknowledged, that he wants to share his message with the world, and there is something that I need to work on. And then he went to his friend and he would talk about, I really want to do that, but, I have that fear. What can I do? Then the friend point him in the right direction. Do you understand? So we all can have fear. Fear never goes. I spoke in front of thousands of people worldwide. And every year I speak in all over the world, more than 10,000 people. And I can tell you the fear never goes. And Nick has spoken several stages in our events. The fear never goes. However, you have to learn how to deal with it. How to deal with that fear is what is going to move forward. Imagine if Nick keep this fear, how is going to write this book? How, writing this book, then he has to go to stages all over the world to talk about his book. How he's going to do that if it's the fear still there, right? So thank you so much, and Nick, for your honesty and for sharing with us your journey. Now, one thing is overcoming the fear of public speaking, and go and speak on a stage and have fun and have friends. Yes, completely different scenario would be for you to decide to write your book. Secret Influence, Communicate and Influence, how to communicate and persuade with power, and goes with the topic today, how to influence and motivate people, right? So how you went to stage fright, fear of public speaking. So I want to become a motivational speaker. I want to share my message with the world. I want to help and I want to teach people how to motivate and influence the audience, and I want to inspire them with my story, right? So what led you to join our organization, Speakers and Leaders, and what was your main purpose? Did you get more confident in Toastmaster? Something happened to you in your life that you decide to change completely the whole thing? Or is it really because speaking at the end of the day is your passion, is what you really love to do, and why not do for a living what you love, right? So what was the turning point from stage fright, speaking, to actually go out and help to influence and motivate people, and also to become the great motivational speaker that you are today?
Great questions, Harry. Great questions. No, so yeah, my story is that I worked 25 years in marketing, and like I said, copywriting was a big part of that. And I was made redundant a few times, quite close to each other. And so when the second time it happened, my partner at the time, we were having our first baby and we're moving house. So I took any job I could to keep the money coming in. There's obviously big commitments financially, and so I was working some contracts, and I wasn't really I got these big career jobs to just doing any work I could, and obviously at that moment you think what am I doing, where do I take this, do I go look for a job, and I was thinking to start my business. But it's like one of those moments where you have a light bulb moment, and when my baby was born, he was really, really ill. He stopped breathing, just sort of leaving hospital. So what happened was I ended up sort of running between the hospital and my job. In the morning, if I went to hospital, if I went to work, I'd run to the hospital, spend hours there, and run back to work, and lunchtime and after work. And I did this every day for 3 weeks. And then 3 weeks, my son recovered. But the point of it was really that, having gone through that, I realized that I didn't, want to go, back to a job. I wanted to do something more of my life. And obviously in life, everything is about your why, why you do what you do, and if, you need a why to be strong for you to achieve what want to achieve in life. And so obviously for that experience, my son was my why, and I wanted to, and also it had this big, message that was developing, I was really passionate about, and that was all about the importance of influence, and I wrote this book about it, and it is it sort of underpins everything I do on my social media channels, is that, you do really need to be able to influence people in life, so if it's in a job, if you want to get the job, you need to influence them in the interview, to give you the job, and promotion, you have to influence your boss or HR to give you promotion. The same business, if you can't influence people to listen to you, engage with you, follow you, buy your product or service, then, we're in business long. So that, after that experience of my son, I developed this, the copywriting business. And so a part of that was to share my message, to as wide audience as I could, and so I did Toastmasters, developed my confidence of speaking to people, and joined Speakers and Leaders Club, and developed some social media channels for my YouTube and community on Facebook, and I really did want to, because it's something I really believed in. I do believe that if you've got a strong message and you're passionate about it, you should try and share it as wide as you can, because it should be something that can help other people. If you've got expertise or got a good story, then that can help other people. So you need to reach a wide audience, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I wanted to do it in every way I could. So whether it was speaking on the stage or writing a book or the social media, that was there was that experience that just fired me on to reach as many people as I could.
That's amazing, Nick. And I think that, as in this topic of how to motivate and influence people, I think that every speaker develop their own technique. And so I would like you, Nick, to share with us maybe few tips that you have in your book, Secret Influence, Communicate and Persuade with Power. So what are your secrets that when you go to the stage, you use as an amazing motivational speaker, as an amazing charismatic speaker that you are? What is the secrets that you use to motivate and influence people on the stage and also online as well? Because in your YouTube channel, Nick Ronald have a YouTube channel. The name is Secret Influence. You can visit, all of you, and subscribe to this. When it's running an amazing YouTube channel with a huge following, over 3,500 followers. So right now, if you are in YouTube, please click and search for Nick Ronald channel and follow him and subscribe to his channel, right? Also subscribe to this one, like, comment, and share. And if you have any question for me and Nick about fear of public speaking, how to speak on a stage, anything related with that, definitely please write on the comments. We will be more than happy to answer your questions. So Nick, again, what are your secrets how to motivate and influence people? So what are the specific secrets that you use in front of the camera and on a stage to, I believe that some of the processes here in your book, but please share with us.
Yeah, of course. So I would say if you want to be able to influence an audience, whether on stage or in fact in any other channel, so if it's on social media, the principles are the same in some ways. So the first thing you've got to do is hook people's attention. People, you've got to catch someone's attention in literally seconds nowadays. In social media, I think you've about 3 seconds people scroll past. It's the same on stage. If you don't if you don't hook them in, then they will lose interest. And I've seen events where someone on stage and people are playing their phone, sending messages, on the phone, not really paying attention. So, as soon as you walk on stage, how you walk on stage, your first words, they've got to have impact, so the hook is the most important thing. Those first 3-5 seconds, whether it's the headline on your poster advert or the first words as you walk on stage, you stand there, what you say, it's got to be something powerful, it's got to be something that it hooks people in, it intrigues them, makes them want to know more. Obviously whenever you speak, you got to make it's got to be relevant to your audience, you've got to know who your audience is. Whether it's on stage, you've got to be able to, whatever sort of speech you're giving, if you're trying to motivate people, if you know who the audience are, you're going to speak differently if it's a young crowd of students to if it's perhaps a slightly older crowd of business people. So knowing your audience and it's very much to affect the style you speak and the content you give. But definitely, the hook is everything. First impressions is so important. And if you make the wrong impression, it can be hard to change. So if you want to influence people and you want to communicate powerfully, whether on stage or like I say, in writing, principle is the same. Certainly I'll say, on stage, look the part, dress confidently, walk on for confidence, be aware of your gestures, your body language, smile, all those things. But the first few lines, those are the most important, I would say.
Excellent. And then Nick, we're going to go to talk about another topic, because in how to motivate and influence people, right? The most important, I always share as a public speaking, and I want to say hello to Dow. Dow, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for those hearts that you're sending us. Thank you so much. We send you heart back from here, from our Speakers and Leaders Motivation Show. And we are interviewing today Nick Ronald, the author of Secret Influence, How to Communicate and Persuade with Power. And we're talking today on how to motivate and influence people. So my question to you, Nick, now is, I always share with the public that public speaking is a skill. So what that means is skill. It's like driving or like swimming. So what that means is not a talent-based skill. I have a cousin that he's a very famous art painter, right?
Okay.
So obviously this one, Nick, he has a talent for it, right? Anybody cannot do that because you require a talent. Some singers as well, you have talent, right? However, public speaking leadership, it doesn't fall in the category of talent-based. Public speaking and the leadership, they are skills-based. So what that means is like driving or like swimming. The more you practice, the better you become. So I'm so proud, Nick, that you've been part of the Speakers and Leaders Club for years now. And I had to say that your commitment and your dedication to your speaking career has been fantastic. We have seen an amazing progress. Just before we started this interview, my partner Lily was actually sharing with Nick how the big growth that he has experienced in very short period of time, in terms of the communication, in terms of speaking on a stage, and the results is exactly his YouTube channel, right? He's starting to grow massively, right? The way that he communicates, the way that he motivates and influences people is growing a following in the social media, and the same way on the stage. But nobody see behind how much work Nick has put that, how much money he has invested to get where he is now, how much he has invested also to get his brand amazing and look amazing like he look in his book or in his YouTube channel, right? So talking about the commitment, Nick, that you decide for 2 years to come to Speakers and Leaders Club. Used to be every Thursday, now it's every Wednesday, to practice for 2 hours the different speeches, which is speeches between 15 and 20 minutes, where are more complex, and to put you through for such a long time, to go and practice and to create the community, the Speakers and Leaders Club, and to help each other and to empower the new ones that they're coming, that they are a little bit terrified, and tell that you can do it because I'm doing it too. This commitment to your speaking career to go to a next level, why do you decide to join the Speakers and Leaders Club, and why you continue delivering an amazing speech, and how this is working for you? Do you feel that practicing in a more complex audience than Toastmaster, where you have real judges, real pressure, PowerPoint, time, other people, an event with the reach of 250,000 people? So this is the game that you're ready to play now, and that's why you joined the club?
Yeah, no, a great question. Yeah, so Speakers and Leaders, what the difference, why I, got involved and committed to it is because everything in life is about practice, and you can't do something, master it, and then never do it again until 10 years later and still be really good at it. To be good, you've got to practice things, and that's for anything in life. It's all practice. And also, I think that one of the great things that things like Speakers and Leaders is that it's a supportive group, but also you get very honest feedback, and there's a lot of sort of accountability there within the group and by the people who run it, and that's what you need. I mean, I think in life sometimes even there's things but we don't do, and you may think, oh, but I know that, but then if you know it, why is no one doing it? So it's only really by being part of a group you meet regularly, where you can do practice things that and you can have accountability to make sure that you are put into practice. You are getting feedback, and feedback's hard. I mean, I think sometimes you've got to be I think when some of the feedback
so bad.
Get some of the feedback from some of the sessions from yourself, Harry, and I remember I was like, that not knocks you a bit, but it is the only way to improve. And so getting feedback is such a fantastic way to become better at something. Feedback and practice.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think doing that in a regular club where you're all, if giving feedback and encouraging each other and supporting each other and accountability, I mean, that's for anything in life, that's the perfect thing. So I think that's why.
Excellent, Nick. And then, I remember, you have been training. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes speaking is a very releasing energy process. And sometimes people don't realize how much training, like you're an athlete, is required, because now every time that Nick speaks at our events, Speakers and Leaders, yes, everybody go, Nick, that was amazing. Can I sign your book? So everybody go to Nick and say, Nick, you're amazing. The speech was amazing. But there is a lot of practice behind the scene. It's like an athlete. There is a lot of work done behind the scene for a year, for 2 years, practicing to get to that level that he is right now, which is one of the most powerful motivational speakers that I ever seen. And the training continues because the training never stops, right? So now, Nick, we're going to talk about something, because as a communication consultant that you are, and you provide services to corporates and also to individuals, right?
Yes.
Now let's talk about how you monetize your consultancy business, your coaching business. So what is this process that motivate and influence people, right? A large scale, but also bring some business to your consultancy and communication consultancy and your communication coaching programs, right?
Sure.
The first thing that I want to share with everyone, right? And I would say a lot of people go and invest a lot in order to grow their coaching business, their speaking business. They go and invest a lot in certifications, right? And my advice to you is, if you really want to monetize your speaking and coaching business as a consultant and as a coach, rather than invest so much money in courses, I would advise you to invest in your brand, because this is something solid. Listen, the coaching and consultancy is again the skill. The more you do it, the better you become. It doesn't matter. It's not something you can study certain things, but the really you're gonna, until you don't coach a lot of people even for free, until you don't develop that skill, you're never gonna become a good coach or a good consultant. So it comes to practice. It's coming to be doing it several times, and this, it has a portion of theory, but in my opinion, 70% of the skills to become a great coach and become a great consultant and a great coach is actually to build your brand. And this is something that I really want to acknowledge Nick, because if you visit his YouTube channel, Secret Influence, or if you see his book, right, well, all of you agree with me that he looks amazing, right? So it looks like a Rolls Royce, right? And he has been working with Lily, my partner, in the program Brand for Speakers. And Nick, in your opinion, how do you want to share with the audience? How do you think really that the branding as a speaker,
Sure.
as to have a very good background in your YouTube channel, Secret Influence, that actually match the colors of your book, and to have all this visual identity as a consultant,
Sure.
as a speaker? So, do you think that this play a big role in for you to find more clients, to get more authority, and also to charge more for your services?
I do, yes, great question. So branding, it is very important, and I think certainly if you're a coach and you work for yourself, you often, it's just you and your business. So your personal brand, your business brand, it can be the same thing. I think branding is, it's important. Identity, certainly. I think consistency is one thing. So for myself, so whatever you decide for your look, this is my brand, Sig Influence. And if you look at all my channels, it uses the same logo, the same color scheme, the same sort of image of myself, and that's one of the key things. So you want a brand that fits who you are, your personality, your values, what you do. So for myself, very much with sport of chatting with Lily, the colours reflected my values and what I was trying to achieve, and the images definitely fit in that. So you got to think what is your personality, what is your values, your business, who you're trying to help. But consistency is important. So whatever your channels you use, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, you need the same logo, the same colours, so that people instantly know, yes, this is the same channel, this is this person's, and recognise it straight away. And I think also just branding is about getting your values across. So what you want in business is you want fans. You want to build a tribe of followers, a community, and that's what social media is all about. It's what's called social. And a lot of big companies spend, a lot of money trying to get this, and what you want is people to like your brand. They, identify it and like what you say and do, and so that they can fancy your brand. They'll follow you. They'll do some marketing by word of mouth. They'll put good reviews, good comments, and share posts. And so I think brand visual identity is very important. Get it right, and then have a consistency. But also, remember, brand is also who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about. And building that community, the ideal thing, isn't it?
Thank you very much, Nick. And then I think what I want to share with you is that in order to learn how to motivate and influence people, the building your brand, right, is going to be a process that never stops. And like Nick said, it's not only the color of your photo or the color, it's also the font. It's also to have the same visual identity across all your social media platforms, across your books, your business card, any banner when you speak on the events. And my question to Nick now is, because he has been speaking in our Speakers and Leaders stages since 2019. Actually, I remember the first talk that Nick delivered in 2018 in our in our event Speakers and Leaders, one of the biggest masses that we did. It was I think the first time that Nick officially delivered a professional talk, a consultancy talk, where he taught the audience for 90 minutes how to what are the benefits to communicate and influence with power. He gave a lot of value to the audience, and it was an amazing presentation that he delivered in 2018. But since then, he has been speaking in our stages on the Speakers and Leaders. He has been speaking frequently in every single of our events. So I think that is maybe like 4 times. So we can say that Nick, we have maybe between 250 people in our events. So it's only at the Speakers and Leaders events, he has spoken in front of more than 1,000 people, only in our events. Now, we have to count that in our online event, the motivational speaking contest, in that one, that we have a reach every time that we do it for 250,000 people. And I think we don't need that 3 times. So online, the reach of Nick have been over 750,000 people in our online events, right? So my question to you, Nick, is which ones are your favorite? The physical events, the online events? What do you find it more easy? Which one do you find more complicated? There is any particular that you prefer? And share with us a little bit more about that.
Well, Harry, I think I do prefer the live events, because I think you can...
Me too.
There you go.
We are in YouTube and we get into your house, but we prefer the live events.
Just live.
Lily prefer online. Yeah, she like it online.
But I mean, I like the energy that you can see the audience, you can get that direct feedback on people. When you're on stage, you can look at them and you can interact. So I think there's a real buzz from doing a live event. And every time I go on stage, I'm a little bit nervous, but there's excitement. But it's
definitely more scary, the live event, than the camera. 100 times,
100 times, 1,000 times.
But I still give you this boost, yeah.
It still gives that buzz. I think the online, fantastic. They're reaching a wide audience of people, and I think now they're both important. If you want to be a public speaker, motivational speaker, you have to practice, improve your skills at offline, online, and I think it's all about trying to get your message out, reach as many people as possible. And I think in many ways it's easy, it's easier than ever, with all the tools available. So, but definitely.
And then Nick, what as a motivational speaker, your journey continues, right? It doesn't stop here, because Nick is also organizing his own events together with with a partner. Her name is Kate. We interviewed, by the way, last week we interviewed Kate, and you can see her interview in this channel. So Kate is Nick's partner in a new event that they produce regular here in London, physical and online, which is Unlock Your Potential, right? So Nick, what moved you from a motivational speaker, from going to delivering a speech and helping people how to motivate and influence people? What led you to organize your own events with a partner, and to get your brand and your message to the next level? Regardless that here at the Speakers and Leaders, you're always welcome, because you're a great speaker, and every time that we do events, we love to have you there to jump into the stage and just speak at least for 5 minutes, you know, how to influence and motivate people.
Sure.
But what led you to create your own events? And because it's more work, now you're not only speaker, now you are an event organizer, which it comes with more skills to develop and so on. So what would be the why you keep growing right now to organizing your own events? So can you speak a little bit more about the events that you organize and why you moving in that direction as well?
Well, I mean, first is say that as long as you'll have me, I'll always be back at Speakers and Leaders. Don't get rid of me. But yes, no, I mean, so Kate is my business partner, to make it clear, not my life partner. But I met Kate at one of the Speakers and Leaders, and what I found was that I think it's quite a well-known thing that success is 80% mindset and 20% skill set. So it's no good having the skills if you don't have the confidence and the ability to determination, and ability to the focus and all these sort of mindset skills. And it's so important to have the confidence and resilience, determination in life, and that's what makes helps you see the most. So what the concept was, after building my motivation skills at Speakers and Leaders events, what I thought was that what a great event would be to teach or share business skills for entrepreneurs, but also motivation. So the concept is we have 4 or 5 speakers, with 2 of them motivational speakers, just concentrating on motivating the audience, sharing how to for them to overcome adversity or develop bulletproof confidence. And then 2 of the other speakers were about sharing business tips from marketing or some other element of business. So it was a mix of motivational speaking and business tips. So that's our concept. And yeah,
very good. I love it.
Yeah. So that's all.
And then you can expand your audience. You can speak in the Speakers and Leaders. Then you create your own events. I'm actually very proud of you to have 2 graduates from Speakers and Leaders. Actually, that they have moved so ahead as a motivation. Both of them, Kate and Nick, graduates of Speakers and Leaders, they have moved so ahead that they not only creating their own events in here in London, they also, both of them, growing a big following in the YouTube channel. So please also subscribe to Kate also YouTube channel as well. And all the details are in YouTube, or you can see the previous interviews that we did with her, which is amazing as well. So now, Nick, the next question is, because it doesn't stop here, right? The leadership. Now, one thing is become a speaker. One thing is overcome your fear of public speaking, step fright, become a motivational speaker, become a charismatic speaker, speak in front of live events in front of 200 people several times, organize your own events. But now, it's a Speakers and Leaders. So now Nick is showing his leadership skills when it comes to, number 1, organize his own events together with Kate, which demands a lot of leadership skills, organize something like that. But also, Nick, in his own club of Toastmaster, he come from don't pick me, to actually be the president of one of the largest Toastmaster club here in United Kingdom, which requires also a lot of leadership skills. So Nick, what would be the transition from, starting on a stage as a motivational speaker, as a charismatic speaker, as an influencer, helping people how to motivate and influence people. From there, move to take more leadership roles, like become a president of one of the largest Toastmasters club, and leadership role like start to organize your own events. So what is this transition from a speaker to leader? Can you share a little bit more with me about that?
Of course. Well, I mean,
remember, speakers are leaders.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that's it for the start of it. I mean, speakers are leaders. That sums it up, doesn't it? I think, the people who, speak to inspire and motivate. I mean, they are the leaders. That's the difference between someone who manages people, someone who leads people. I mean, a true leader is someone who motivates and inspires people. Doesn't force them to take action, but motivates and inspires them. So, a good speaker, a good motivational speaker will be a good leader, because they can motivate people and encourage them and get them to take action through that style of speaking. So, with myself, I started sort of 7 years ago. That don't pick me in the back of the room, and spoke on stage, developed my confidence, and through speaking, taking the leadership roles was the next step. It was something I wanted to develop my skills further. I wanted to not to be at the front of the stage, but motivate people, but motivating people behind the scenes. And so my club, little shout out, MLP London Bridge Speakers. It's the second oldest club in London, and it celebrated 17th anniversary recently. So anyone, pretty impressive, right? So anyone welcome to come as a guest.
It's going to be a party there.
It will, always like a party. So president for the second year in a row. And I think,
you were president twice.
I am, yes.
Wow, so they re-elect you.
They re-elect me.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Twice president. That's very, very good, Nick. Congratulations.
I know,
That means that you're doing a good job. So my question to you is this one. Any challenges as a leader when you arrive to the Toastmaster club and, oh my God, I'm in charge of this club. Somebody need to take care of the money. Somebody need to take care of the registration. I need to build a team, because you cannot do everything alone. So then you need to recruit your team. Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? So how you lead them? How you motivate them? How you motivate and influence these people that are actually working with you in the Toastmaster Club in order to run the sessions in a very, very complex environment, because it's one of the largest clubs here in London. So what would be your challenge as a leader and in the Toastmaster, or also organizing your own events? So what challenge have you experienced?
It's a great question, because the interesting thing is that like any organization, you do need people managing things some level behind the scenes. You do need people. There's always sort of admin, there's always sort of different sort of aspects of finance, and Toastmasters no difference. But with Toastmasters, no one's paid. So the person who does finance, the person who manages the meetings, these roles take time. They don't pay for, it's not a job. So the only thing that gets people to do these things is motivation. So I would say that is my as a president, the one of the big, it's being organised and managing skills, but essentially I have to motivate the committee, the manager, to do their roles. So I think genuinely one of it goes back to one of the skills of a leader is motivating. So encouraging people to do their roles through giving them the benefits. I think that's one of the greatest ways to get someone to do something in life. Is to call to action. If you're trying to influence someone, perhaps in your marketing, is by giving the benefits of taking action. If they click there, if they sign up, if they get involved, what is the benefits? There's some benefit that they'll get from doing that. So and that's how you influence people. To an extent, you say, well, if you do this thing, I'm asking, this is what you get in return. This is the benefit. You're going to get this will change your life some way. And so yes, that's what I try and do. I say, if you get involved and do this support role for me in Toastmasters, you'll get this great benefits.
Excellent, excellent. And one more thing is that I also realized that the more you grow as a speaker, the more your leadership skills start to show, right? It's an natural evolution of the speakers. But my question to you, Nick, in the times today, like showing people how to motivate and influence people, my question to you is, Nick, how important do you think that is the power of the story to motivate and influence people?
Very important. I mean, we connect with people through emotion, and storytelling is the way that we all tell stories. We don't. This is the beginning of time, from when we're sort of cavemen passing on wisdom about which animals to avoid which things. It's done through storytelling, and so before books and films. History and knowledge was passed down the generation through storytelling, and everything we do, we tell stories. If you look socially, you're at a pub on a Friday night, you'll tell stories about your week with your friends, and companies, it's like on to this. If you want people to follow your brand, you've got to tell stories that people connect with. Storytelling is such a powerful thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what people want to know. If you have built up your brand and you're trying to reach more people and expand your influence, why will people choose you, not as another company is doing the same thing? Because obviously nowadays, there's lots of people doing the same thing. Lots of coaching companies got lots of e-commerce, and it's your story. People connect with you. So if you tell your story and why you started and what your struggles were, what drives you, what your passion is, then that's what people connect with.
Yeah, that's exactly what becomes your brand. It becomes your brand story. And especially remember, Nick, what I always said: never tell a story without a point, never make a point without a story. So every time that if you want to motivate and influence people, it's very, very important to tell the story, but also the point of the story, because the point of the story is the lesson. There is never make story without point, never make a point without story, right? If you really want to motivate, influence people, if you want them to get your message, the very way to create empathy, which I think is some of the interview today with the audience, is by creating this connection with the audience. And the most powerful resource in order to engage an audience is the story, right? So thank you so much, Nick, for wonderful interview. Amazing. We have a lot of fun. Thank you so much to Lily, to Kadu, Kai, to Dove, and to all of you that join us from Facebook and from YouTube. And we are looking forward to see you in the next chapter of the motivational speaking show, where we're gonna be interviewing more motivational speakers like Nick, authors of several books. Remember, everyone, visit Secret Influence YouTube channel, subscribe, and please support Nick. Also, please get his book in Amazon so you can learn more how to communicate and persuade with power, and also some secrets how to motivate and influence people. So thank you so much for watching, and I see you in our next